King David and Solomon, birth of a holy capital. Around 1000 BC, a pivotal transformation began in Jerusalem. What had once been a modest hilltop settlement, centered around the life-giving Gin Spring, was poised to become a city of legend, faith, and power. The architects of this transformation were two figures whose names would echo through millennia: King David and his son Solomon. Their reigns would shape not just Jerusalem's physical landscape, but its spiritual destiny, turning it into a city at the heart of a fledgling nation and the aspirations of countless generations. David, from shepherd to king. David's story is the archetype of humble beginnings rising to greatness. A shepherd boy tending flocks in the hills of Bethlehem, he would eventually become king of a united Israelite kingdom, known not just for military skill, but for cunning political strategy, charisma, and a sense of divine mission. Before David's rise, Jerusalem was a Jebusite city, fortified and strategically placed but modest in scale. Its inhabitants, the Jebusites, were skilled in defense, believing their city was impregnable. But David's vision went beyond conquest. He sought a city that could unite the tribes, serve as a political capital, and embody spiritual centrality. The biblical account recounts David's capture of the city after clever military maneuvering, turning it into a symbol of unity. Archaeology suggests fortifications from this period were expanded and reinforced, reflecting David's ambition to create a city fit for a kingdom, both strategically and symbolically. Jerusalem as political capital. Once under David's control, Jerusalem became the administrative center of Israel, consolidating power in one location. This move was revolutionary. The Israelite tribes, historically decentralized and often at odds, now had a shared focal point. The city's geographic centrality made it ideal, perched on hills for defense, overlooking trade routes, and near the Gin Spring for sustenance. David's choice of Jerusalem also had religious foresight. Unlike Hebron, which was associated with one tribe, Judah, Jerusalem was politically neutral and could symbolize unity. This decision would resonate for centuries. Jerusalem was not just a capital, it was a manifestation of Israelite identity and destiny. Solomon, the vision of the first temple. David's son, Solomon, inherited a kingdom at peace internally but surrounded by powerful neighbors. His vision was audacious: to build a grand temple, a permanent dwelling for God in the heart of Jerusalem. The construction of the first temple was not just architecture, it was a political, religious, and cultural statement. Imagine the city at this time: workers laboring on terraces, stonecutters carving massive blocks, artisans inlaid precious metals, incense filling the air. The temple's design reflected divine order, intricate woodwork, golden overlays, and sacred spaces for priests and rituals. Pilgrims would travel from across the region to witness its majesty, turning Jerusalem into a center of pilgrimage and devotion. Solomon's reign also saw urban expansion. Fortifications were strengthened, water systems improved, and new districts developed. Roads connected the city to trade networks, bringing in goods, ideas, and artisans from distant lands. Jerusalem was evolving from a defensive hilltop settlement into a cosmopolitan capital, a place where faith, governance, and commerce intertwined. Political and international maneuvering. Solomon was not only a builder of temples but a shrewd statesman. He established diplomatic alliances through marriages and trade agreements with powerful neighbors like Egypt and Phoenicia. Tyre, in particular, contributed skilled craftsmen and materials for the temple. This period reflects Jerusalem's dual identity, sacred and political. It was a city where kingship, divinely sanctioned or not, intertwined with international diplomacy. Solomon's ability to maintain peace through alliances allowed him to focus on monumental projects, leaving a legacy of prosperity and architectural brilliance. Yet, this prosperity was not without tension. Heavy taxation and labor demands sparked unrest in outlying regions. Solomon's Jerusalem was a city of grandeur for the elite and spiritual pilgrims, but also a city whose prosperity rested on the sacrifices of many. This tension would echo through the ages, as Jerusalem repeatedly balanced faith, politics, and the pressures of empire. The spiritual transformation. Solomon's temple transformed Jerusalem spiritually. Before this, sacred spaces were scattered, high places on hills, shrines near springs. The temple centralized worship, establishing Jerusalem as the spiritual heart of Israelite religion. Pilgrims arrived for major festivals, priests conducted elaborate sacrifices, and the city became the nexus of divine presence on earth. The temple also reinforced Jerusalem's symbolic role. It was the place where heaven and earth met, where God's presence dwelled among mortals. Every stone, every altar, every ritual carried profound meaning. This spiritual centrality would endure even through conquest, exile, and destruction, making Jerusalem a city whose significance transcends its rulers. Cultural flourishing. David and Solomon's reigns also marked a cultural flowering. Music, poetry, and literature thrived. King David himself was credited with composing psalms that resonate to this day. Craftsmen introduced Phoenician artistry. Trade brought exotic materials, dyes, and spices. Jerusalem became not only a political and spiritual hub but also a center of culture and learning, attracting scholars, priests, and artisans. The city's population grew, markets thrived, and neighborhoods expanded. By Solomon's death, Jerusalem was vibrant, cosmopolitan, and intricately tied to the spiritual and political ambitions of Israel. Conflict and legacy. Despite its grandeur, Jerusalem remained vulnerable to external threats. Neighboring kingdoms, seeing its wealth and strategic position, coveted the city. Solomon's death led to a division of the kingdom, reflecting a recurring theme: Jerusalem's glory often invites conflict. Yet, the foundation laid by David and Solomon was enduring. Jerusalem's identity as a holy city, political capital, and cultural center was firmly established. Even later conquests, Babylonian, Roman, and beyond, would encounter a city whose spiritual and symbolic weight was unmatched. The human element. Beyond kings and architecture, Jerusalem's story during this period is also about its people: priests performing rituals, artisans carving stone, soldiers guarding the gates, and families navigating daily life. Markets thrived, festivals brought communities together, and pilgrims added energy and diversity. The city was alive, breathing the rhythms of human ambition, devotion, and survival. This human dimension is critical for understanding Jerusalem not as a static relic, but as a living organism, shaped by leaders, worshippers, and ordinary citizens alike. The stones and temples tell one story. The voices, rituals, and daily lives of people tell another, one that continues to echo today. Setting the stage for the future. The reigns of David and Solomon set the template for what Jerusalem would become: a city where faith and politics intertwine, where beauty and ambition meet, and where history leaves a permanent imprint. It was a city that embodied Israel's aspirations, a place where divine presence, human ingenuity, and strategic necessity converged. As we move forward in Jerusalem's story, we will see how these foundations, political centrality, spiritual sanctity, and cultural richness, become both a source of resilience and a magnet for conflict. The city that David and Solomon shaped would endure sieges, destruction, exile, and rebirth, yet its essence would remain intact.